So good morning. We're going to call this meeting to order, the joint meeting of the Martin County School Board, the City of Stuart, the Martin County, and the Village of Indiantown. So if you would all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we will start with introductions. I am Marcia Powers. I'm the chair of the Martin County School Board.
Jennifer Russell, Vice Chair. Amy Pritchett.
Michael Main, Superintendent.
Michael D. Terlizzi, School Board Member.
Chrishelley Roberts, District 1.
Tony George, School Board Attorney.
Mike Mortel, City of Stuart.
Eula Clark, Stewart Commissioner.
Troy McDonald, Mayor of City of Stuart.
Becky Bruner, Vice Mayor, City of Stuart.
Christopher Collins, City of Stuart.
Lee Baggett, City Attorney for Stuart.
Janet Hernandez, Village of Indiantown.
Carmine DePaulo, Village of Indiantown.
Susan Gibbs Thomas, Village of Indiantown.
Wade Vos, Village Attorney.
LaRonda McBride, Village Clerk.
Attorney.
Harold Jenkins, Martin County.
Ed Campy, Martin County.
Stacy Hetherington, Martin County.
Doug Smith, Martin County.
Don Donaldson, County Administrator.
Sarah, did you introduce yourself?
The mic didn't work.
Oh, okay. All right, thank you. Do we have any public comment? Is there anyone here from the public who would like to speak?
I'm not from the public, but I just wanted to say hello to the new Indiantown clerk. This is the first time I've met her.
Thank you.
We have a lot of new faces, some new people, some old people in new positions. So the new city manager at the City of Stuart, Mike Mortel, the new city attorney, Lee Baggett, and of course, LaRonda, who she's been with the Village of Indiantown for a little while, but she's always a bright smile to see in the crowd. So thank you for being here, everyone. So I don't see any public comment. Has anybody? Okay, moving right on to our agenda items, we have the county capital improvement projects. Keith Baker.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Keith Baker, Senior Project Engineer for Martin County Capital Projects. We're going to go over our work program. Currently, we'll start with our neighborhood restoration projects. We do these projects in two phases. We do the drainage component, and then we come in and do the paving. Currently, we have a large number of projects, either in design or under construction. From the list on the screen, Hobe Hills is complete. Beau Rivage is wrapping up. It's 90% complete. Coral Gardens is about 50% complete. Cove Ridge, which includes a replacement of approximately 500 linear feet of sidewalk to meet ADA, is about 50% complete or 60% complete. Port Salerno Peninsula construction will begin early 2024. And Rocky Point, the design is at 60% and the utility plans are at 50%. Get the next slide. We work with the utility department on some of these projects with their septic to sewer program. Currently, we're working with the utility department on Beau Rivage, Coral Gardens, Port Salerno Peninsula, and Rocky Point. This is going into our paving portion. Currently, we have Gomez under construction at 30% complete. That project includes a resiliency component, and it's projected to finish on or ahead of schedule. We have Golden Gate construction to start November 2023. Hibiscus Park will be going out to bid this month. Leilani Heights is scheduled for early 2024. Construction and Hobe Hills will be mid-2024. Moving into our roadway and sidewalk construction. The first two, Salerno Road from 76 to Willoughby and Salerno Road from US 1 to Commerce are both complete. Near the bottom of the slide, we also are about 60% complete with the Salerno sidewalk. As you drive down Salerno, you'll see we've made improvements, or with the sidewalk making improvements to the entire corridor. Go through some of our other roadway and sidewalk projects. We have Dixie Highway resurfacing, which is approximately 90% complete. Cove Road is 50% complete. Indian Street resurfacing will begin January 2024. County Road 714 resurfacing will begin January 24. We have Jensen Beach Boulevard resurfacing is scheduled for April of 24. Waterside Way, which is the roadway to the new county operations complex, will begin January 24 also. We have MacArthur Boulevard reconstruction beginning April 24, and East Ocean Boulevard sidewalk is complete. Just want to point out the majority of these projects are funded through grant funds. Moving on to our bridge projects, we have Dixie East Fork Creek Bridge, which the construction will begin early next year. Just want to point out during the construction of that project, full two-lane, two-way traffic, vehicular traffic and pedestrian traffic will be maintained throughout the life of the project. And the last one on the list here is County Line Road Bridge, or the Loxahatchee River Bridge. It's expected to go out to bid early 24, so construction mid next year. This project is funded through state grant funds, a portion of it. Just want to point out that for the County Line Road Bridge, it will be closed. There will be a full road closure throughout the life of the project. Current construction schedule is 1 year. We plan on less with efficiencies gained during construction, but that's the current schedule. Just want to point out that the road closure has been coordinated with emergency services, Village of Tequesta, and the residents. And last, just bullet point, the detour will be via Country Club Drive and Tequesta Drive. Are there any questions for that portion of the presentation?
Can you tell me a little bit about that Port Salerno Peninsula project?
Yeah,
Is it a drainage project?
there are drainage components to it, especially around the, There are drainage components to it, especially around the Manatee Pocket for water quality. So yes, it is a drainage project.
Thank you.
All right.
Moving on, my name's Luke
Hang
Lambert.
on, hang on, 1 second. Mike Dieterlisi. I got a couple of calls from some folks in Old Palm City that were curious about the status of the Old Palm City water and sewer west of Map Road.
That being a utility project, I don't know the exact schedule for that one. Which neighborhood is it?
It's around Thelma Street, behind, near the pond that they did, the retention pond, to the north of that. It's, maybe someone else has an idea later they can give us an update. Thank you.
Okay.
And good morning, my name is Luke Lamer. I'm the Traffic Engineering Administrator for Martin County Board of County Commissioners. Just going to do a quick ecosystem update. The East Fork Creek STA, Phase 1 is complete. You can see the graphic on the upper right. Phase 2 is going out to bid soon, and design for the Manatee Creek STA has been completed. So moving into traffic, Keith mentioned we're doing the Indian Street resurfacing project. So we are also doing an intersection improvement project. That'll be dual left turn lanes on Indian Street onto Willoughby in both directions. So we've already awarded that contract, and construction will be in tandem with the roadway work. We have Salerno Road at Carolina Highway, some intersection improvements as well. Constitution Boulevard at Federal Highway, there's a signalization project we've been working on for some time. That's now in FDOT permitting. And we are working on a roundabout on High Meadow Avenue at Sunset Trail. So we're about 90% complete with that. And then there are a couple other sidewalk projects that are upcoming that are of note for this committee. So Avalon, the Avalon sidewalk and Washington Street sidewalks, which will be in the work program soon.
Are there any questions from anyone? Okay, seeing none, thank you all very much. Next up, we have the City of Stuart Utilities and Engineering Department.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Peter Kunin. I'm with the City of Stuart, Director of Utilities and Engineering. It's good to be here with all of you this morning. For the City of Stuart, start off with our transportation project. We have currently the continuation of the annual pavement maintenance program that we have budgeted in this current fiscal year. The project itself involves milling and overlaying pavement throughout the city. We're currently working in the Zone 1 area, just north of the Roosevelt Bridge. Moving on to stormwater projects, we have several stormwater projects that currently are in construction. The first one is the Northwest Dixie Highway Ditch Improvement Project. Now, this project is primarily focused to alleviate flooding in the area of the Riverside Park neighborhood. The project itself involves the replacement of some existing 24-inch stormwater culverts and some modifications to some existing drainage structures in that area. The anticipated completion of construction of this project is March of 2024. The next project is the Southeast Illinois Avenue Living Shoreline Project. That's the construction of a living shoreline at the outfall of Illinois Avenue and the St. Lucie River. The project is under construction. And again, this one also has a completion date of March 2024. The Southeast Mango Place Drainage Improvement Project is the next project, involving drainage inlets, baffle boxes for water quality improvement or treatment in that location on Mango Place. This again, is a project geared up to addressing flooding problems in and on this particular street. This also has, it's under construction as well. Another project where it's anticipated construction will be completed in March of next year. We have some utility projects, some water main projects that are currently in design. First one is Southwest Flagler Avenue Water Main Improvement Project. This involves the extension of an existing 12-inch water main, approximately 1,100 linear feet of new 12-inch water main to be constructed for improvement of increased capacity, fire flow improvements in this particular section of Flagler Avenue. As I mentioned, the project is currently in design. It's about ready to start with the permitting through DEP. And with that, anticipated construction of the project is going to be in May of next year, May of 2024. And will take a couple months for completion of construction into the early to mid-summer is what we anticipate. The Northwest Poinsettia Street Water Main Improvement Project. It's another project that is currently in design. It's for the construction of a 6-inch water main, a small section of 355 linear feet of water main on Poinsettia Drive, basically to replace old, smaller 2-inch water main, galvanized steel water main on this particular street. The project's in design, but it's also in permitting as well. And we anticipate the construction of this project to take place in January or February of 2024. And then on to our facilities projects, which is primarily the reverse osmosis water treatment facility project that is currently in construction. And components of the project are a reverse osmosis concentrate pipeline, and then modifications to the existing deep injection well that we have. This project is moving along very well. And we are anticipating that this facility will be in producing water in March of 2024. So the concentrate pipeline is, the completion of that pipeline is completed, and the deep injection well modifications are underway, as is the construction of the RO facility. And with that, I believe that ends my presentation this morning. Are there any questions for me?
Any questions? I just have a quick question. Do you have any update on the Palm City Road improvements?
I attended a meeting with an MPO meeting about a month and a half ago. And that project, they had some alternatives or conceptual designs that were presented. The project itself is not currently in design, and I don't know right now what the timeline of construction is going to be for that project.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we're moving on to the Village of Indiantown Utilities and Public Works update.
I think I got out of this. Sorry about that, Pat. That's all right. You know how to get in?
Yeah, I'll find it.
Okay. Oh, here it is. It's probably this here.
Yep, that looks like it. Thank you, sir.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Pat Nolan. I'm from the Village of Indiantown. I'm the Public Works and Utilities Director. Let's see if we can get back to the beginning here. Okay, first slide is the Public Works project. We've got the Uptown Roadway and Drainage Repair Project. That is in design. The funding came from the Florida Department of Transportation. The other project we've got going on is the Seminole Drive and Magnolia Generator Project. That is a drainage project on Seminole Drive, and we will be installing a generator at the lift station on Magnolia Street so that we can harden that lift station. That currently is ready to go out to bid. We're just buttoning up some front-end documents, so that should be on the street soon. And then we've got the Southwest Lincoln Street Roadway and Drainage Project. That is a project that we just received funding for, so we're beginning design, and hopefully we'll get that out on the street sooner than later. On the water side, the biggest project we've got on our plate is the water plant project. We are working on finding funding for a new water plant at the Village of Indiantown, because we have discovered that we do not have enough capacity at the present plant. So we have started permitting for the wells, which will include Floridan wells and also deep injection well. We've got the Railroad Avenue water main. That is a 100-year-old 8-inch water main that is the backbone of our system, and we're looking to upgrade it to a 16-inch main. We've completed design, and we're just trying to locate money for that. We have applied to the state for an appropriation, and we're hoping that we see funding for that project. We've got a 12-inch water main looping project. That is funded, has been designed, and we're getting very close to putting that out to bid. And we also have the 151st and Osceola Street water main. That is another project that we designed, and we actually did receive funding from Congressman Mast's office. So we're just waiting for the timing on that so that we can start that project. And that is it for the Village of Indiantown. If you have any questions.
Are there any questions for the village staff? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, we have the county and city village development update. Samantha?
Good morning. I'm Samantha Lovelady. I'm with Martin County Growth Management. And this is the growth and development report. We're reporting between June and September. Here are the population projections with a 2022 estimate. We're looking at 184,400 by 2050. So between January and September, in total, the county has approved 414 residential units and 710,185 square feet of non-residential. And these are projects that we have in review. I'll let you take a look at these, and if you have any questions, we'll be able to follow up with that. And then in review, we have for non-residential.
I'd like to see totals. Oh, my God.
And if anyone has any questions so far.
Commissioner?
Hi, good morning. On your first slide, is that your projections or Bieber projections?
Those are Bieber projections.
What was the number for the city of Stewart up to 2050? Is that less than 20,000? I can't see. I'm sorry.
It's 2050, it's 19,675.
Not accurate.
That's not, yeah.
Our projected build-out, we have projected by about 2035 to be at full build-out of 23,800.
Okay, well, those will be addressed when the new Bieber numbers come out.
Excuse me. Who's? Yeah, just a comment, and I'm sure we'll get into it later on. Those numbers are interesting, because you'll see when Indiantown presents, you're talking for the next 27 years, there's a growth of, what, 900, approximately 900 people? That's interesting. We'll get into it when we have our presentation.
I
I'm not too sure
understand.
where the numbers are coming from.
And I understand the concern, but Bieber doesn't project out on approved projects, so that'll be addressed as time goes on.
Thank you.
And the city of Stewart is really a fascinating report. The city of Stewart approved 0 residential units and approved 21,445 square feet of non-residential. And they have 0 residential units under review and 58,600 of non-residential in review. Any questions on that? So,
Just the one slide. Should I just sit here? Hello, everybody. Dina Freeman with the Village of Indiantown. I'm the Community Development Director. I have to acknowledge Lucia Mendoza, who's in the back, who's also working with the Development Planning, Community Development Department. We have provided a very basic summary of the applications. We've got quite a lot of activity within Indiantown. We've had several pre-applications that have been in review, and the importance of reporting those are, a lot of those are within the Venture Park PUD, quite a few pre-applications where there's going to be a lot of job creation, a lot of relocation into Indiantown by the employers with their employees and families. So we've got quite a few in the first column under pre-applications, primarily under the Venture Park PUD. And then in review, we've got a multitude of non-residential and residential developments. Of importance in that in review column is Seminole Crossings, and that is 24 single-family dwellings, and then the remainder are employment-based. They're in review. Some of them are in their second round of reviews and close to development orders being issued. And then of importance under the approved, the Terra-Lago, which everybody's aware is the Indiantown DRI that has been approved prior to Indiantown separating out. Approval of 2,488 residential units, 100,000 square feet of commercial, multitude of parks and community facilities. Of that, we've got a Phase 1A and 1B that have been approved at the major final site plan stage for 224 units and 410. We've also got Parkview Villas apartments with 24 apartments and 8 live-work units. And River Oak is another significant approved development. It's got major site plan approval for 176 single-family dwellings. They're at the clearing stage. And then the other projects that are listed are non-residential. We've got quite a lot of activity in terms of new employment generating and therefore obviously potential relocation into Indiantown. Separate to this slide, the village is also looked at the total residential approved and in review, and the total number, taking into account Terra-Lago, which has got phases 1A, 1B, 1C, 2, 3, 4, and 5, with phase 1 build out projected in the approvals to be 2028. So taking into account Terra-Lago and all the other projects that are mentioned, and also adding in Osceola Pines, which is a PUD with 159 units approved. We have a total number of residential units anticipated to be 2,891 in Indiantown. So when we talk about what's reported through the population, and I understand from what Sam's explained, obviously what we're looking at in reality is very different to what the population projections are, which is why this meeting's so important. So the information that we've looked at will be shared after this meeting in a couple of spreadsheets. Very important to share that with the school board because we all are aware that when we're doing planned approvals, the actual master site plan is a deferral of public facilities and capacity for schools, but the major site plans and minor final site plans as they come in is when we get into the school board or reviewing as part of the development review colleagues, and that's where the numbers are important because you are going to be provided with quite a significant jump in population projections and housing being built in Indiantown over the next few years. So we'll be providing that information, and what we don't want to do is just have you have that information as each application comes in, because they're going to come in quite quickly. And obviously that's when the school board, as part of the DRC, would provide whether we've got capacity within Indiantown to accommodate with the existing schools. Or if we have to, obviously the applicant has to either reserve capacity and pay their impact fees. So in terms of presentations, that's what we've got for residential numbers. Total approved is 1,018, and total in review, including the Terra-Lago, is 1,873. And we've still got quite a few inquiries coming in, just as regular general inquiries about annexations and just development applications in Indiantown. And then we've also got under non-residential, right now, we've got a potential between pre-apps and what's in for review of up to 215,470 square feet of commercial activity. So that's the end of my presentation. We will provide that information later for everybody. So if you've got any questions, thank you very much.
Mr. DiTerlizzi?
Tina, thank you very much for that presentation. What type of population are you anticipating in that 2,700 or whatever, 2,900 units as far as children per unit?
That's actually not being calculated at this point. I'm only new to the village within the last few months, part-time. So that's something that needs to be worked out, and working with the school district and working with the county.
Thank
So once we provide that information, I'd like to work with Sam and with our village staff and provide that information, and working with the school board as well.
Thank you, Dina.
Thank you.
So I know that we have a student generation rate that we use at the school district for planning purposes, and I know that, I believe, and Mark can probably speak to this, that Terra-Lago Phase 1 there is capacity. Obviously, we're going, maybe, possibly, facing some capacity issues with Warfield Elementary School, but we have plenty of capacity at Indiantown Middle School. So as a school board, we're looking at some options on possibly converting some of the middle school to lower grades, opening that school up to lower grades, possibly a K-8, because we do have the capacity. And there are additional capital projects specifically for Warfield to expand some of that now in our 5-year capital plan. So I know the superintendent and Mark Seacrest will be talking to that and speaking to that. Are there any other questions? Okay. Thank you. All right, next up is the Martin County School Board. Superintendent Maine.
So I'm just going to give an introduction, and then I'm going to turn it over to the staff that we have here today that are truly the experts in these areas, and I could not do this job without them. As I was driving in, good morning, Michael Maine, Superintendent, Martin County School District. I was kind of reflecting on this being month 5 for me on the job. If you count from June forward, if it's July, it's, 4 months in. But what I wanted to say to all of you on behalf of the board and the school district, thank you. It has been a true pleasure being part of the community, being settled, daughters in the school system. I have had the unique opportunity of meeting with almost all of you individually and or on different various projects. If I have not yet, I'm sure I will be very soon. But what I wanted to extend to all of you is just you have embraced my family and I into the community with open arms, and I appreciate that. And the true collaboration that has taken place between all of the municipalities and the school district has been just superb. And what this meeting reminds me of, and I always enjoy these meetings, is in our roles that we serve, we don't always hear the positive things, right? We tend to be on the end of the negative. But when you sit in a room like this and you go through all of the projects that are happening throughout the community, you're reminded that the work that we do as public servants is important work. And there are phenomenal things that are taking place in this county and in this community. And I as superintendent of schools, am greatly appreciate that and the partnership. So thank you. With that, I am going to turn it over, and I think first in the slides is, with me to my right is our Director of Maintenance, Mark Seacrest. Joining us, and I'm going to move out of the way so that they can have the mic, is Dr. Tracy Miller, as our Deputy Superintendent. She oversees all operations for the school district, and also, not new to the district, but here to this meeting format is Dr. Paige McMahon, and she's going to be also working through the accreditation process with Dr. Miller. So I'll get out of the way and let the real work be spoken through.
Thank you and good morning. It's great to see everyone again. Tracy Miller, Deputy Superintendent, and as mentioned, this is Dr. Paige McMahon. She and Dr. Deborah George are really heading up the accreditation process, and they've done an outstanding job. We are well on our way. As you all know, the Martin County School District has been fully accredited for many, many years, and so this is part of our 6-year cycle to ensure that we continue that accreditation. And what that really means, you've all heard Superintendent Maine from day one on the job has said our goal is to be #1 in the state. And the accreditation system really helps support that work. And so being fully accredited and then using all of that information to build a robust strategic plan to continue the work throughout the years is really what we're focused on right now. And so Cognia is really the leader in accreditation, and they are helping to work us through this process that will help us achieve meaningful and measurable improvement as we work through building on the strengths that we already enjoy here in Martin County, throughout all of our schools and our communities here, and really planning for the future to make sure that all of our students have exactly what they need to be successful. Dr. McMahon?
Thank you. Good morning. I wanted to walk you through exactly what a 6-year accreditation cycle with Cognia looks like. So right now we are in phase 1, which is our preparation phase. At this point, we are collecting evidence and data. We are going to be analyzing that data very shortly, writing about it, identifying our areas of strength as well as some areas for growth. We are almost done with that data collection, and in November we'll be doing that analysis, and our schools will be completing a self-assessment. On January 31st of '24, we will be completing our official engagement review with Cognia. That is now done remotely, so that will be organized via Zoom. And then about halfway through our 6-year cycle, we will be checking back in with them to do a midpoint check-in to discuss what changes have we made, what new initiatives have we implemented, and how are we doing on working on the plan that we created together with them. So what exactly are we evaluated on? Cognia has 30 different performance standards organized across 4 different key characteristics. Those are leadership, engagement, growth, and culture. Starting back in August, our team of Elliott certified observers have started our data collection with classroom observations. So we've been going to all of our different school sites and doing a learner-focused observation, completely unannounced, to evaluate our classrooms on the learner experience across 7 different learning environments using Cognia's Elliott tool. It's the Effective Learning Environment Observation Tool. October has been a busy month for us. We are doing the bulk of our evidence collection from our school leadership teams. They are identifying specific artifacts that demonstrate their school's excellence in implementing those 30 different performance standards. Each week, we ask them to upload different artifacts for the specific key characteristic identified that week. Then we have some key characteristic team leads who are serving in various roles across our district, who work with the schools to identify those specific documents and to help us later on analyze the documents for trends and to figure out what kind of things are we doing really well right now and what are the areas of which we can improve. Also in the month of October, we have completed, or we're completing, our stakeholder surveys. Last week, we completed our community and family climate and culture surveys. I'm very happy to report we have more than double the number of respondents this accreditation cycle than we had last time. So we're very excited to have our families and community provide a greater voice in our accreditation process. This week, our students are completing their 3 surveys, and then throughout the month, our teachers and staff are able to voice their opinions and perceptions as well. On January 31st, we do have our engagement review with our lead evaluator from Cognia, Dr. Phyllis Gilworth. We'll be organizing different focus groups with a diverse selection of teachers, staff, administrators, families across the community. Based on our analysis submitted this year, in 2023, our evaluator will be working with those focus groups to discuss specific trends that were identified and different wonderings she may have. I'll turn it back over to Mr. Main. Thank you.
Any questions about the accreditation process that we're currently have underway?
I'm sure.
Go ahead.
So is it is Cognia national? Are we, where do we fit in relative to the state and to national with them, and how do we actually compare to the rest?
So Cognia is a national leader in the accreditation process. Most specifically, they focus in the South, and Paige, help me out a little bit here.
They're the leading accreditation. Come up to the mic.
So nationwide, they are the leading entity that accredits school systems.
So at the end of the 6 years, we'll have ranking or a lens, if you will, of how we compare in the Southeast and how we deal, or how we rate nationally?
So what Cognia does is they provide, they actually accredit us, so they will label us as a fully accredited system, which we have been for the past many years and intend to continue to be. And what that really means is that we are meeting the standards that are set, that were outlined, and they also help us identify those areas to remain on track, to remain accredited, and also to push our work forward so that we can continue on that continuous improvement cycle.
And so in the accreditation process, I assume there are hundreds of systems, school systems, that are in that same track, if you will. So is there a way at the end of accreditation or during accreditation to know where you are relative to the others that are in that tracking? Or is it merely, no?
No, what they do is it's really looking at yourself. It's an internal study looking at what the benchmarks are that are recognized nationally for successful school systems and looking at your own district to see where you stand. It's really a self-reflection and moving yourself forward to benefit the unique, focusing on the unique characteristics of our own community and making sure that what we're doing in Martin County is supporting what is needed in Martin County.
Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
So I just will add that the comparison that you're asking about, Commissioner Smith, it's really, so we get that comparison within the state of Florida because everybody's taking the same test. We also compare ourselves nationally with nationally normed tests that are conducted in 4th and 8th grade. And then the state kind of does that for us. But then it's really difficult to compare us nationally because it's like comparing apples to oranges. Not everybody has the same standards. Not every school district or state has the same high standards that Florida might have, or they have different standards than we have. So it's really difficult to compare us nationally, except on those nationally normed tests. And we are, I would have to look back to see how specifically Martin County is performing, but the state of Florida is performing very well in some areas. Mm-hmm.
So I've always just been curious, and Michael and I talked about this when he first came on. If there, somewhere, I assume, nationally, there's got to be the top 10 school systems in the country. There's got to be some kind of, and I appreciate the fact that every state's different. Every school curriculum strategy is probably different. But I got to imagine somewhere along the line, someone says, these are the top 10 school systems in the country on some kind of performance matrix of some sort. And then how do we ever insert ourselves into that to say what makes those the top 10? Why are they the top 10? And let's say it's Nebraska, for whatever reason. They have the top 5 or whatever. Why? And granted, there will be entirely different circumstances between a Nebraska and a Florida relative to all sorts of things.
Right.
But is there that kind of structure that we eventually get to that says we are ranked in the top 10% of the?
I don't know that there is one that ranks the entire school system. There are those rankings that come out specifically for like our high schools, and it's based on nationally normed tests. So everybody's taking the same tests. I know that our high schools are performing very well in the nation. Jensen Beach, a lot of it's based on the number of AP courses that they offer, plus how our students perform on the ACT or the SAT. So that's then compared nationally, and we come out with a ranking. I think it's the U.S. News and World Report that does their national rankings every year of high schools. So, but elementary and middle schools, typically, I haven't really seen one that would then evaluate the entire system. Because of we need something nationally that they're doing to compare.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, Ms. Roberts?
Yes, Dr. Miller, did you want to mention about the survey? This group of people?
For strategic plan?
Yeah.
So strategic plan is a component, it's separate from the accreditation process, but the information gathered by both systems works nicely together to help ensure that the work identified that's going well through accreditation and the strategies to improve become embedded in our strategic plan moving forward. So we have had focus groups that Cognia has led here within the district, and we have a survey that has been sent to business partners, our local chambers, and been sent to others. We can send to anyone who is interested. I know Mrs. DeShazo has posted it on our website as well, so that that survey can go out and be participated in by all. Really what it's asking is a very simple question: what can we do better? Where can the Martin County School District improve? And we invite everyone to give us that feedback as to, from your perspective, whether it's a business owner, a parent, a community member, whether you sit on a board, you're a grandparent, whatever your role is and your interest is in the Martin County School District, we invite you to provide that feedback and let us know what it is that we can do better that you would like to see embedded in the strategic plan.
Thank you. Commissioner Clark?
Hi, good morning. My question is not on accreditation. It's a general question for the school board. We had a presentation, maybe, I don't know, probably a year ago, where we had the young people talk about the trades and academies that were at the school board and how successful those were going. And I'd like to get an update on that at some point. And I also wanted to especially find out if there was anything with regard to any agriculture academy or any expansion from South Fork, like they had the golf course project, out to the new Indiantown High School, if there was anything specific on that. And then I also wanted to find out if there was anything that can show how ready students are to get into the workforce from these academies. When, if you have a history or a study or anything that shows that if that you have people who can get right into the workforce, finishing high school, including students who are in the, I don't know if it's mainstream or ESC program, what happens to them after age 18 or 19 in terms of their placement into job forces, or if they go on to something like Helping People Succeed, which used to be Tri-County Tech. But I just wanted to find out for that population what's happening with them and how successful they are after they have high school training or high school education. And if we could just find a way to get a report on that, whether you email it or if we have a presentation from the students, I'd appreciate that.
Well, you're in luck. You're getting ready to hear about our career technical education programs next. I don't know that we have all of the information that you're asking for specifically about our ESE students and all of that, but you're getting ready to hear about that. So sit tight. Commissioner Collins.
Yes, thank you. I was curious if the school board tracks, this may be kind of an unusual question, but market share in terms of, the available students who could be going to public school. And I'm asking this in light of, and I'm a little bit ignorant to the technical, how this is actually phrased, but with the legislative changes in Florida with regard to personalized education and that stipend or voucher, that can even go towards homeschool, if you guys are actively looking at that in terms of making our schools as competitive as possible, as not to lose large market share in terms of, I'm assuming every one of those vouchers that goes out is not money that's coming into the school system. I might be wrong, but that's my understanding.
Well, probably the superintendent can speak to it a little bit more, but we haven't seen a real sharp decrease in our enrollment at our schools. So we feel like a lot of people are taking advantage of vouchers that weren't already attending public school. So they may already be in a private school, and those students are also eligible for the voucher. I don't know, Superintendent Maine, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, so in a couple of slides after this, we'll go into that, but I can touch basis on it now. We'll just go a little out of order. It's okay, we're easy. So it's important for us to answer your question. Yes, we are very aware that we have to be keeping up with and knowing what type of, and you've heard me say this before, what product is being offered. How are we looking at the private schools and the charter schools to see what they're offering, and what programs are we putting into our schools to make sure that we are either being competitive and or
Specifically
doing.
with homeschool, it seems like
Yes.
that's what really changed this round, is homeschool families being able to have access to that.
In the data that we track, we notice that we are in really good shape kindergarten through fifth grade. Where we lose our students is they unenroll with us in middle school and re-enroll with us in high school. So as we drill down into that data, we're trying to uncover and determine what is it that our middle schools are not offering, and why are those parents feeling that private and or charter school or homeschool is better for those middle school years. A lot of different factors, right, that come into play there, but then they're re-enrolling in us with high school. So for me, it's important that our staff is taking a real hard look at our middle schools. What are we offering? Are students engaged in the programming that's being offered at the middle school level? How are we making sure that our principals are branding and marketing their schools with those specific programs to make sure that when we have a student that chooses to unenroll and go middle school, we have options available to them? A lot of them are taking Florida Virtual School. Maybe it's not a course that we're currently offering. So let's make sure we're offering those courses at the middle school level so that they don't choose to go homeschool and enroll in a Florida Virtual School type format to take those course offerings, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
Mayor Goods Thomas?
Yeah, I have a very simple question, hopefully. The accreditation process, 6 years, does that happen once every 6 years, or does it take 6 years for the process?
Once every 6 years.
So then, in that once every 6 years, how long does it take?
So it is now, the structure is a continuous improvement model over those 6 years. So it is not these are your goals and you have those same goals for 6 years. That continuous improvement model cycle allows us to adjust over time based on the data that's being reported and how we need to pivot and make adjustments as a school district over that 6-year period. So it is not a one and done school improvement plan or district improvement plan, if you will. We can modify and make adjustments as we go.
Thank you.
Mr. DiTerlizzi?
Thank you. As you're moving forward through your presentation, talking about career technical and the different career exploration labs, can you also mention the financial literacy and how important that is? I think some folks would really like to hear about that. It's such a great program. Thank you.
Yes. Okay, so we'll go ahead and move through here. On the screen, you see where all of our career and technical academies currently are located and what those courses are. And we've also highlighted for you new programs that have started at those high schools over the last year or started after August of 2020. I appreciate Lana putting that in there for us. So exercise science, hospitality and tourism management now being offered at Jensen Beach. Martin County High School is now offering the criminal justice program, metal customization and painting, electrocardiograph technician, exercise science, welding technology, which is proving to be growing in enrollment as we're moving forward. The HVAC technician's always been a very popular one since we've added that. The landscape and golf course operations and agriculture at South Fork, which is huge. We just had a meeting, Mark and I, a couple of days ago at South Fork for the 3-hole golf course that is there. The district is putting in $800,000 towards that project. The academy or the advisory council that is there has visions for that to be more robust, and we are certainly on board with that, but it's going to take a community effort to help raise money to turn that golf course into a state-of-the-art program so that we're immediately putting students from high school right into the workforce at the many golf courses that are going to be, that are under construction and coming our way. And the Allied Health CCMA Aerospace and aviation technologies at Spectrum is going very well. They're increasing their drone programs. We have a drone program in each of our 3 high schools now. And the last meeting that we had, I talked about the Embry-Riddle partnership, where these students are working on their ground schooling for their private pilot's license at the high schools. And then we'll be going over to the airport to finish up the flight portion of that. And then available at all of the high schools now are the career dual enrollment, the enterprise and small business certification, and then internships on the job training. Those are things that we have been doing. But it's important for us to note that we'd like to see the expansion of these types of things out into the middle school area, right? So that we're starting them earlier to capture them earlier and growing them further into the programs as they go into high school. This is something that we've not traditionally done a lot with, but we are looking to do, and that is currently happening right now, so that we are capturing those students and they are not leaving us to go into a homeschool type program. Dr. Miller has some additional notes here too, so I want to give her a chance to speak to some of this as well.
Sure. I wanted to really talk about the student supporting schools. It's the last one in the box at the bottom, a Grow Your Own Employee initiative or opportunity. This is something we began a few years ago and started small, and we've expanded throughout the district. So we call it S3, Student Supporting Schools. Students actually take a course. They receive credit for on-the-job training that they're receiving while earning a high school credit, while earning a paycheck, while learning job skills. And so we started with the technology department with what we'll call basic level 1 technology support. So maybe a teacher in the classroom, her whiteboard isn't working, her computer's not working, student's computer isn't working. So the student technician would go and provide that support. That program went so well, and we've been able to hire then those students when they graduate from high school. They've already been trained, they know our technology, they know our schools, they know our policies, rules, and procedures, and then it's a very nice transition into the technology department for a full-time job with benefits to be able to continue that kind of work and grow their opportunities and their learning so that they can move through the career ladder in the technology department, for example. So we have expanded that. We're really excited about expanding to maintenance and the facilities department to have students who might be interested in, again, turf management or painting, whether it's auto body or the metal work, those kinds of things with painting. You know, we all have football fields and we have to stripe them. We have baseball fields that have to be striped and painted, and soccer, all the sports and all the reasons that we have painting that happens on the fields on our campuses. And so we will now be able to employ students to assist and do that work. So they're getting training from our staff. They're considered employees. They receive all of the same kind of, and all the soft skills, being on time and how to work with your paycheck. That kind of brings you into the financial literacy program that is now something in all of our programs. Students will graduate having taken a financial literacy course, and the reviews we're receiving thus far, and I actually saw some people posting on social media how much their students are enjoying that financial literacy component. So we knew that was something, we know it's something everyone needs, and it is a small component if students go into dual enrollment and take the Student Success course, but now we have an entire course called Student Financial Literacy where they receive this kind of information and training. And then for our ESE students, we have what we call job coaches. So someone who goes with our ESE students to the job sites, to their career, so that they have someone who's able to provide that mentoring and on-the-job coaching so that they are able to learn the skill, learn the job, and then be able to be successful in those careers. So those are just a few of the highlights of things that are happening. And we continue, as you see, new across that board, pretty prevalent, the new that's happening. And so that's expansion of programs, and it's really based on student interest, and then also based on what our community needs are and the jobs that are open and available, and what our business partners are telling us they're looking for from students coming out of the Martin County School District.
So go ahead, Amy.
Am I correct that one of our financial literacy teachers is a former student at Martin County? I believe I saw that.
Yes, at South Fork High
And
School.
he's hitting a home run because I see him engaging, and I just think it's really fabulous that it's part of growing your own, so that's great.
And all of the financial literacy teachers from all of the schools have come together and they collaborate and work on planning. Mark Cowles leads that work. They did a phenomenal job not too long ago. So there's consistency across all of the high schools and the requirements for that financial literacy course and what those students are receiving. So we see it every day, right? Students not sure how to operate a checkbook, what a bank account looks like, signing a check if they need to. There's a lot of electronic banking now that is taking over. What does that look like for students? And this requirement is a huge success, and it was very well needed. So, as you can see on the middle schools, we'll speed up a little bit here. These are all the career exploration labs. So as I said, these are opportunities for students to explore careers. We understand that they may not know 100% on what they want to do or as they get into high school, but this exposes them to all of those different career opportunities through a nice rotation or a career exploratory type wheel. You see that there is a pilot program for 22-23. The pilot site is Indiantown, and all of those programs are being offered there. And then there will be career exploration fairs that students will be placed on a bus, brought to a local school, and there will be industry experts there to be able to speak to their careers and also provide them additional opportunities to learn about all the industries that are out there.
And I'll just add, we have an amazing partnership with Indian River State College and through our two charter high schools, one being Clark Advanced Learning Center, which you're all familiar with, which is really for kids who are going to go on to a university to get their four-year degree. Typically, a large majority of the students that attend Clark graduate high school or graduate college before they graduate from high school. So they graduate with their two-year degree before they graduate from high school. And then Indiantown High School, which is of course brand new. I would love if anyone would like to go on a tour. It's something I'm very, very proud of. And if you would ever like to go on a tour and see what they're doing, it's amazing. They're getting all of their labs ready right now that will be ready to start in January. They've already are in the process of completing their first, all the students together in the cohort are completing their first industry certification, and then they will move into their specialized careers. We're working really closely with the marine industry, which is a high need area for Martin County. So if you have, would like to take a tour, I would love to personally take you. Commissioner Collins?
I was just going to ask, I love seeing what you guys are doing with the different skills that you're teaching. You mentioned community partnership with businesses, and my hope would just be, I don't know the state of that, but really, I can imagine, back when I was in high school, if I knew that if I go into this welding path, that there are several different businesses locally that would be apt to hire me. There's truly a pipeline there versus it being in a silo and learning that skill and not really having that bridge of where I'm going to go is, it's not my job to advise you guys, but really seeing those partnerships in the local industry really get solid to where we're able to steer our kids into careers with those skills beyond just, focusing on teaching them and having maybe kind of loose or superficial relationships with various industries. So
I think it is our goal to eventually, instead of having just college recruitment, to have companies come that want to recruit and hire our students, the same as we would have interviews on our campus for colleges. And eventually, that's where we really want to go. And we are starting to identify those businesses, and I would challenge you all as some of the largest employers in Martin County that if you're looking for interns or you have hard to fill positions that you would like to train someone, that we would be welcome, and I know the superintendent and his staff would be welcome to speak to you about whether it's in your maintenance department or your IT department, but offering those hands-on opportunities with a local employer.
Almost what I was going after was almost like a liaison, and you have these different industry skill sets and having people through the school board that are able to truly, like I think of the guy who fixes my car. Every time I talk to him, he can't find anybody that and if you almost had a liaison that is interacting with every auto shop that's involved in and around Martin County and, keeping communication back and forth. I know I'm giving you one more thing to potentially do, not to be.
Well, it's funny, I don't know if you go to the same mechanic I do, but I did recruit his son to one of our programs because his son is actually working for him and still in high school, and, he needs something. And so we recruited him to one of our programs. So but that's just one. You're right. It's going to take time. And as workforce is kind of evolving, and it is a statewide issue that's on everyone's mind, we are working with Representative Snyder to really focus on workforce this legislative session and encouraging students to participate and get their specialized diploma and be recognized for that. So I think it comes from a past mindset of everybody is going to college to now realizing that everybody is not going to college, and we need to recognize the accomplishments and success of those students as well. Commissioner Collins.
I know you're doing a great job just throwing some ideas around.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
And Mr. Collins, so you're aware, so our Director of Schools of Innovation and Choice, Lana Barros, could not be here today, but she is that liaison that works directly with, and just so you're aware, each of these academies is required to have an advisory council or an advisory board, and those advisory boards are made up of industry experts that are in those current careers and jobs, so they are letting us know and Lana know exactly where to connect those dots and what opportunities are available.
Awesome.
Commissioner Smith?
And one thing I would add on to Chris's idea, thoughts, comments, and to yours as well, one thing that may be missing is the ability for kids to be able to see what that looks like. When we were kids, we had a ton of opportunity to see businesses and to see like if you wanted to go into welding, well, what does that really look like? Like what is a job, what is the business look like that does welding? And here in Martin County, we are incredibly fortunate to have the marine industries that we have, and we have some of the best welders in the world in this county, because the sophistication of what they need for tuna towers and the aluminum welding structures that they do. If kids could actually, if they had an interest, if they could actually see that in process, they'd go, wow, that's really cool. I want to do that, or I want to be in that environment. The same thing as DeHar. I mean, I think if some kids could see the career path that you could take at DeHar in the aviation or aerospace industry and understand, that's a $70,000, $80,000 a year job with the right skill set, with the right, the right direction, you in fact can live in Martin County and work here and make a living, work in an air-conditioned environment that most people may not even understand that exists over there, and have a great career. But if the kids can't see it, it's hard. You can teach them how to weld. When I was 10, 12, I learned how to weld. But unless you could actually see the application in process, the boat works that's doing it, or the aerospace industry that's doing it. So, Bob Stevenson, Mike, was that his name, Bob Stevens? We used to have that program out at South Fork once a year where he'd bring in all the manufacturers and all the companies. It was fantastic back then, and it wasn't literally going to the company, I understand, but at least the companies were coming to them to showcase what they did and how they did it. And so if there's a way to ever get back to that again, and I know that's incredibly complex, but I mean, I almost envision if there were 40 kids that wanted to go in the marine industries track, you could almost get with the marine industries group and lay out 10 stops in a day and go visit 10 manufacturers in one day with 40 kids on a bus that could actually go into the facility, see what they actually do, and go, yeah, that's something I want to be at, or I want to be part of.
Well, and that is happening with the marine industry specifically, just because we have a very strong core of leaders in that industry that are really focused on students achieving. And in fact, we are going on a field trip coming up soon at the end of October to Willis Marine. They're going to the Indiantown, the new marina in Indiantown, to really see, because those centers specifically you don't have to be a welder. You can do fiberglass. You can do carpentry. You can do finish work inside a boat. There's so many different careers and pathways. And for students to see and understand that, you're right, is very impactful, that they can see at the end of the day, when I'm 30 years old or 40 years old, I can provide for my family because I'm on a path right here in my community where I can live and work and support my family. So we are very focused on that.
Great, thank you.
Okay, I'm going to have Mark come up very quickly. I know we're running long here, but appreciate the questions. And
I'm sorry, Mr. Maine?
Yes. Yes, sir.
I wanted to also mention, because I know it's going around the community, we have been negotiating with the SPAM robotics team to bring them back in-house. They used to be housed at South Fork High School, and they've kind of lost their space at South Fork High School and have been located out at the fairgrounds on Dixie Highway. But we've met with their leadership, and they're kind of stumbling along where they're at. They need more space. So due to the fact that we purchased the old Stewart News building, we have a giant space in the back that's warehouse. So we're negotiating an agreement which will be about almost ready to be signed probably in the next 3 weeks, bringing them in-house as a partnership. And they will have their robotics operation where they build these robots. If you're not familiar with SPAM, they're an internationally competitive and competing robotics team. And they're all high school students, and they do a phenomenal job. They've been #1 in the world a couple of times, I think. So we are bringing them in-house to partner with us, and we're looking to expand on those programs also. And these kids are so smart. And what we found, what they've found over the last few years is that their students come in and, you know, they're technical, they're kind of, I won't call them, you know, they're almost, what's that? Okay. They're very smart kids, so they don't fit in with the jocks and, you know, a lot of people. So, but what happened is they're generally quiet, and they have gotten on this world stage, and they've become outgoing and become leaders in their own fields, and it's been a wonderful program. So keep your eyes open for SPAM and what they're about to do in Martin County, because they're going to continue on that. So thank you.
And we have one of the volunteers for SPAM that graduated from Martin County School District, went on to get his engineering degree, and is now volunteering for SPAM while he's working for, I think, Florida Power and Light. So it's.
Thank you.
Okay.
So good morning, everyone. My name is Mark Sechrist, Director of Facilities at Martin County School District. I want to go through a couple slides here. I broke up the table into 2 slides so that everybody could read it from your distance. So if you see the schools that are listed in blue, that is the controlled open enrollment. That is reviewed by the school board at the beginning of every year in the past 2 years. So like early 2024, this will be reviewed again, and the board will decide which schools we will open up for controlled capacity. So if you see those items in blue, those are the schools that were selected by the school board. What you see on the table is we had a date certain count last February. We just had another date certain count across the district last Friday on the 13th, but those numbers are being verified. So for this meeting, we actually just did a count across the district on the 2nd of October. So those are the numbers you're seeing in the green column. What's interesting about those numbers is if you do a comparison from February to October, it's kind of what Mr. Maine mentioned before. We saw an increase in elementary school students. We saw a decrease in middle school students. We saw a little bit of an increase in high school students, but the overall increase across the district was only 62 students from February to October. So I know I have an anxiety about all the development going on. We have people coming to the county. I'm not sure where all the students are going. I'm just looking at the pure data that's being represented at our students. Those represent seats in our schools, so you can see the actual numbers. Like I said, we'll release the numbers for 10-13 once they're verified and vetted out, because those numbers actually end up going to DOE as a count, and then we'll do another one in February 2024. So we do it twice in a school year, which overlaps 2 calendar years, because we're in the middle of a cycle. What some of these numbers represent, we actually had Hidden Oaks, Jensen Beach High School, and South Fork High School. Those were controlled seats. So the school board gave us 65 seats for Hidden Oaks. Jensen Beach High School, we had 100 seats. South Fork, we had 90 seats. So those 3 schools, they actually opened up a certain number of seats in each one. Also, just to bring back kind of the Indiantown Middle School scenario and Warfield Elementaries, the numbers are going to be higher at Warfield this season or this school year because we moved the whole 5th grade from Indiantown to Warfield. So that's the big difference in that. And we started that in August. So now, moving forward, that 5th grade class will be at Warfield. And we have a major capital project coming up within the next 24 months where we're doing admin, media, and classroom additions to Warfield. So we're going to be looking at these enrollment numbers and kind of capacities to see what we need to do with that school. So here it's just a continuation of the table. We actually can see the high school numbers, and then we were able to, based on the October count, add the charter schools. So you can actually see a number of what's being occupied in our public charter schools. And then you can see at the bottom, we have a total of 18,092 students. Any questions?
Not so much
Any questions from the mayor?
not so much a question, but just a comment. I appreciate the info on what is on the drawing board because it alleviates a little bit of my anxiety.
Right.
Thank you.
Yes. Commissioner Clark?
I know that probably this goes without saying that you've been working with the Boys and Girls Club and our former school superintendent, because I'm hoping that whatever happens in that arc with the middle school students, that we use Stewart Middle School as an example of real collaboration to try to make that difference.
Yes.
We already have a collaborative agreement. We donated the land for them to build their new building, so that is our intention, of course. And then I just will mention, one of the things that was really important to me is moving 5th grade to Warfield Elementary. Indiantown, the community, was the only community in Martin County that had 5th grade at a middle school. And I'm really looking forward to having the 5th grade where it belongs. I know I went to 5th grade. I went to 5th grade at Indiantown Middle School. I know Commissioner Hetherington probably did too. And so it's been a long time coming. So that's a big change for the Indiantown community. Are there any questions? Anybody? All right, perfect.
Before we adjourn?
Yes? Commissioner.
Thank you.
Some closing comments. I have a response to Mr. Dieter-Lizzy was asking about septic to sewer in western, well, not western Palm City, but west of Map Road in Palm City. Like many other communities in Martin, the board, we've tasked our utilities department to really work on converting septic to sewer programs. We had an issue recently in New Monrovia where the numbers were just coming in higher than the residents could really swallow, and our staff has gone back to sort of find additional funding opportunities. Palm City, Old Palm City in particular, has been in the works for quite a while, and similar to some of the other communities, the bids came in so much more much higher than had originally been anticipated, to the tune of about $10 million more than we had thought. And our staff remarkably were able to go out and get an additional $10 million in grant money. One of the reasons being that Martin County is considered a leader statewide in being ready to make those conversions where a lot of other counties are not there yet. So when the money is available annually, we get a tremendous amount of it because of our foresight and hard work as a global county. So we have applied for an additional grant, got it, but as you all know, the numbers are continuing to escalate upwards, making it difficult for us to continue to chase that final number to a point that residents would still be able to participate in a number that's reasonable. The other problem in many of our residents is that we don't traditionally add sewer unless we're also it's there, or we will be adding water. And so that creates a problem for about 500 residents that don't have water, so sewer. And I was instructed that many years ago, there was a program that allowed individual residents to apply for water. So imagine a street with 25 homes, 6 or 7 people applied for water, the others didn't. So it's not like we can look to add the water in street by street or section by section. It's patchworked down each individual street. So our staff has been working hard on trying to figure out how to do that. A lot of the difficult work of design and engineering is done, so we're just waiting. The other thing I'd like to bring up on sort of a positive, happy note, and Mr. DiTerlizzi and I have been working on this together, is a great example of a government entity working with another government entity and a private sector. Martin County Parks and Rec has been trying to rehab and renovate all of our facilities as much as possible, and like everyone else, money is money. And so we have always had a nice collaboration at Hidden Oaks Middle School with our Parks and Rec for the gym space, for basketball. And what a lot of people are not familiar with is there's a couple of softball, baseball fields just to the eastern portion of the property that we have collaborated with for a long, long time, but those fields had sort of sat basically dormant because there hasn't been a lot of need for them at any given time. But with the success of Martin County North Little League and other Little League throughout the county, and especially a couple of years ago when Martin County North won the, came in and got to the World Series, a lot of young families are interested in putting their kids in Little League and softball and things like that. So Tom McNicholas, who's been here for 45 years, created the McNicholas Family Foundation and looked around at where there could be opportunities for underutilized park space. He reached out to us and his foundation he has been responsible for bringing the Astros and the Nationals and the Braves, so at that major league level, to Florida. So he's got a lot of those connections that he could utilize. So between in-kind and actual cash, in the last several months, they've come up with $125,000 to redo those fields. And I know that Mr. DiTerlizzi will tell you how the school district has participated as well, but even if you drive by there today, the fields are being redesigned, regraded, to be really state-of-the-art fields, and there will be all sorts of kids ready to take those fields and learn how to play and learn how to, update their skills. So I'm pleased to work with the school board and my colleague in District 5 to do that. I think it'll benefit a lot of folks. And the last thing I'll say to that same point is that some of you might be aware that the county recently has acquired a parcel that is adjacent to Palm City School Avenue. And with the new configuration of entering and exit for the kids, first off, I tell you, I was there on your grand opening. The school is spectacular. And for anybody that was disappointed that the old school would be torn down, I think those concerns are completely overwhelmed by the fact that the new school is fantastic. And the community response has been terrific. But getting in and out has been a challenge. So I would say that we could work as the county with the school board to see, now that we have some right-of-way space there that we didn't have, if we could create some kind of an ingress and egress opportunity. Mike and I did it at Bessie Creek when the car line would back into the travel lanes. We met with Jim Gordon and other people from our Public Works Department several years ago to reconfigure Matheson to create a much larger, longer stacking line for the car line. And that's just the community working for the same residents. So if Mr. DiTerlizzi, probably not, but if Mr. DiTerlizzi has anything to add.
I'll be quick and brief, but thank you, Ed, for your help, too. I appreciate everything and your involvement in this project at Hidden Oaks Middle School. If you haven't been by there, it's an amazing transformation. The fields have basically been empty for several years. But also, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank Dr. Miller and Mr. Main and their staff, and the school staff also for being involved and helping to see this thing through. There's some drainage work going on because there's been some drainage problems, which has been part of the problem hanging over the fields. So they're working to get the drainage issue done. Tomorrow, they're going to be laying sod. And the really, really good thing about it is the students that'll be playing on those ball fields are actually working through and giving community service hours to the project in order to be able to bring this thing to fruition. So there's going to be new bleachers, there's going to be some new fencing, some green shielding on the fencing so that it's more private when kids are in there. But Florida Baseball Club is working with McNicholas Family Foundation and the Community Foundation to do this. There's, like Ed said, about $125,000 between cash contributions and in-kind donations to get this happening. It's been really great. It is when this organization was set up here to be able to have an interlocal agreement, this was the exact idea and concept of what was envisioned back 20 some odd years ago. So we're very thankful that this has finally come to this point, and we'd love to see more of that also happen. But you'll start to see some more things. There'll be a grand opening when the fields are done, and the kids will be playing ball there, and everything will be great. But I give thanks to the McNicholas Foundation. Tom's been a community, upstanding community member for many years, and his family put this together. So I give them a lot of credit, and I give our staff credit, too.
Thank you. And I will just quickly address the Palm City Elementary traffic car line issues. We're still under construction. There's some things going on. We're hoping that once that is complete, there is the plan to stack those cars actually on the school site. So hopefully that will be alleviated once all of the construction equipment and things are all gone. Are there any other comments from the county council? Closing comments? Anything from the school board? City commission? Final comments? Village of Indiantown? Okay, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.